pickling effects of Asperger's impacts life inside and outside the home. Those outside of the home, like coworkers or acquaintances, don't understand the full scope of life with Asperger's, and they often unsuspectingly go along with the masking that an Asperger does, at least for a while. It is much like the story of the Emperor's New Clothes. In social settings, an Asperger learns the rigorous routine of putting on a persona to look all fine, but to those who live at home with the Asperger, they know the Emperor will not attempt to put on his invisible clothing. They get the raw reality of authentic, bare, relational hardship. Hi, I'm Steve.
And I'm Liv.
And together, we're Liv and Steve.
Oh my, the story of the Emperor's New Clothes really does apply. The Emperor convinced himself that he looked quite dashing in splendid royal garments, but he was actually naked, that no one dared to risk inflaming his wrath, till a young child innocently called him out as being naked. Whew! The survival technique of masking is a lot of work for the one with Asperger's. They see themselves as adorned with a fine cover-up of personality. What a nice guy. But to Cassandra, it's as if the Asperger is wearing no clothes. She sees right through the masking. Another way of looking at masking is that it is posing. Posing as someone who you're really not. And in an Asperger culture, everyone ends up posing, even the neurotypicals. Steve, do you remember when our children were younger and everyone thought our family was amazing?
Yeah, I do. And I actually agreed with the folks who told us that. I thought everything was fine. I believed that we were who we were posed as. I used to tell everyone how much I loved being a husband and a father. I really felt like the Emperor who had on such a fine array of clothing. Lib, what were you experiencing when you heard people tell us we looked great?
Well, I knew things were not good, but I also had such a sense that no one would believe me. We would have such a grand 2-hour show at church every Sunday. Everyone thought that you were a great guy, intelligent, totally at the helm of our family, leading with grace. No one knew my intense pain. Therefore, I figured, I guess I'll just pose. Gotta look good. But I always felt like our best effort to pose was like wearing hospital gowns. From the front, you look covered. Not so much from the back. Every year that went by, I was losing who I was. My heart was so broken, and I didn't know how to connect with who I really was.
And I suppose, as an Asperger, I never really ever knew who the real me was, because I had been in the Asperger fog my entire life. When you don't know what you don't know, you can't change what needs changing. Liv, have you had some great success with the part of a person's healing journey that connects them back to true identity? Share some of that with us.
Yes, when we strip away every layer of mask and we stand alone without posing, when no one else is watching, it can be scary. Who are we? So I began a journey of understanding my origin. It is life-changing.
So Lib, tell us where we all began, our origin.
You may think I'm going to say in the womb, but I can show you that it actually goes back further than that. In Jeremiah 1:5, we read, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart." God breathed us out in heaven as little spirits, and he wrote a beautiful story about us. In Psalm 139:15-16, we read, "I was made in the secret place. I was woven together in the depths of the earth. All the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be."
Lib, tell us why this all matters.
Our origin is that we were breathed out by a loving Heavenly Father who had a beautiful story for each of our lives. God gave us the gift of free will, choice. In the Garden of Eden, a sad choice occurred. It brought in curses that affect us in the womb as our soul and the DNA flesh from our earthly parents begins to grow and attach onto our spirits. This is how sickness, syndromes, and sorrow began in mankind. There is an enemy who hates both God and people, Satan.
So Lib, How do we connect to our origin, and how does that bring healing?
The word origin in the Bible is ek. It is often attached to other words. Matthew 12:9-13. For instance, in the story of the man healed with the withered hand, Jesus asked the man to stretch forth his hand. The term stretch forth is ekteno. So literally, Jesus had the man stretch forth his hand to a place where heaven could touch his hand and bring it back to its origin. The man's hand was instantly, completely restored and healed to God's original intent.
That is very assuring to step back and consider all of this. At this time, we will end this video and continue filming the second part to share with you our art therapy activation to help find our origin and connect with the God who designed us to be. It's pretty cool.
Yes, part 2 will be a continuation that you don't want to miss. Hope is found in the art therapy activation for next time. And remember, send us questions to liveandsteve@gmail.com.
Please like us and subscribe and hit the notification bell and share this with anyone who could benefit.